Hi, I'm John Edmiston, and I will be taking you through today's presentation. I'm the CEO of Cybermissions, and we use computers and the internet to supply free and low-cost theological education to those who need it most. Our vision is to use computers and the internet to create and maintain a self-replicating evangelism, church planting, and Bible training movement to meet the desperate need for training in the emerging world where 90% of pastors have no theological training. A church establishes a Bible college using Cybermissions digital training materials, which are then taught locally in small groups and classrooms. The church-based Bible college then graduates students trained in evangelism and church planting who then plant new churches. These new churches in turn establish their own church-based Bible colleges using Cybermissions materials which are delivered digitally to their cell phones and their computers and their internet cafes. So that's our vision: self-replicating evangelism, church planting and Bible training movements out there in the emerging world where there is very little training at all. The next part of our vision is the resourcing part of our vision, which has been very much the traditional role of Cybermissions, where we use computers, the internet, radio, MP3 players and other devices to provide contextualized, language-appropriate online resources to house church leaders and isolated or persecuted believers, as well as to Christians in general, and to play a role in the spiritual formation of new movements of the gospel by developing specialized training in prayer, emotional intelligence, and spiritual formation. We also want to develop partnerships. Partnerships give us the leverage to get our materials and training all around the world. So we want to develop a global network of kingdom partnerships that will help leverage Cybermissions training materials, courses and resources to the widest possible audience. And we want to increase the capacity of Cybermissions, as I'm not as young as I used to be, so that it can sustain a full-time CEO and so that John Edmiston can hand Cybermissions over to a suitable successor in due time. Harvest Time is our major ministry partner. We work very closely with them. Harvest Time International Network was started in 1983 by Dr. Patricia Halsey, and it supplies 22 subjects that together form an AA degree, and we'll talk more about that later. And it's in 16 different languages at the moment. They've just completed Hindi, and in partnership with them, we'd like to get it translated into 2 more languages. Firstly, the language of Tigrinya, which is the language of Eritrea, which is the blue oval up to the top right of the map there. And it's a very persecuted country. It's the second most persecuted nation next to North Korea. The church is suffering and it needs training materials in its own language. And we're working on that through some underground partners there. And we want to train 150 pastors in the Harvest Time materials. We're also translating them into the language of Burundi. It's the red circle on the lower left of the map. It's very underserved by the gospel. Burundi has 13 million speakers, but for various reasons it doesn't have a strong gospel training presence. Most of the people just speak Kirundi, not English or French or any other language in which there are resources, and it desperately needs Harvest Time translated into their national language. And if you can partner with us in that, that would be fantastic. They have some very deep needs in that nation as well. The Harvest Time International Institute is our online way of teaching Harvest Time, the 22 subjects I mentioned earlier. And it's an associate in biblical ministries. That's the AA degree they get at the end. And we have that associate in biblical ministries in both English and in French online. We'd like to add Spanish soon. And it enables pastors in remote areas to study online without going to a physical Bible college. A lot of these areas, they'll never get a physical Bible college. It's too expensive, too hard to maintain, too difficult to find the lecturers. So it helps us with starting new church-based Bible college just using this curriculum. They study in groups of the church. and then they do their exams online. And doing the exams online helps prevent cheating. We have the tests randomized, and so the Harvest Time International Institute's getting off the ground still needs scholarship funds. Some of these people can't afford to pay even the tiny amount we charge of $7 per subject. We need a scholarship fund, and we'd be grateful if you'd help us to get some momentum into the Harvest Time International Institute. Cybermissions has about a dozen websites. We've been doing websites since 1994, and between all these websites, we had 268,700 unique visitors just this year alone. That's 268,700 unique people this year alone. We also have 11,468 people receiving our training via email. They just put the email address in a form and it continually sends them training on a topic that they like. 6,000 of those are receiving free ebooks. Another few thousand are receiving a prayer course by email, and others are doing subjects like Romans. These websites provide free Bible and ministry training on a wide range of topics, mainly through articles, ebooks, courses, and MP3 files. We also do radio programs in Uganda and the USA and online. We do this because many people are oral learners. They prefer to learn by audio or by video, and they're not so keen on reading or writing. So many people in emerging nations and also here in the USA prefer to listen or watch their presentation of the gospel. And so we've got a 1-hour program in Jinja, Uganda called Insights for Eternity. In the regional USA, in 4 cities there, we have a 15-minute program called Uplifting Moments. And online we have thousands of MP3 files at eternityradio.org, and we also have an Eternity Radio Android app. In the same vein, we have found Proclaimer MP3 players produced by Faith Comes by Hearing. They're solar powered and they're very useful for sharing the gospel. Our friend there, Pastor Ojoli Moses, takes them to prisons, schools and churches, turns them on and gets a listening group going, and then shares the gospel. And just last Sunday, 10 people came to Christ through the Proclaimers. And these Proclaimer solar-powered MP3 players, we're sponsoring them through Cybermissions as part of our technology outreaches, because we believe in reaching oral learners with the gospel. Of course, I have my books, Biblical EQ, The Spiritual Continuum, and Downloading Grace from Heaven. These are 3 books that focus around various aspects of the spiritual life. They're all available on Amazon.com, and Biblical EQ is currently being translated into Gujarati by my friend Renison Christie, and the 2 others are being translated into French by a translator in South Africa. So the books are a big part of how we develop people's spiritual lives. Travel. Well, it seems like I'm always traveling, but not really. I've traveled to Cote d'Ivoire earlier this year around May, June, and in September I went to Korea, and then I've traveled a bit around the USA this year as well, doing ministry. And these overseas trips helped me to set up a Bible college in Africa and network with global missions leaders in Korea. Now, what's our travel going to be in 2025? I don't know yet. We've got many requests for conferences, especially in Africa and also in India and around the world, and we'll have to sort through the list and work out our 2025 travel as the Lord provides. And your generosity will help me to travel and do the work of the gospel in these nations. Well, here's me again, and I'm about to tell you how to donate to Cybermissions. You can donate on our website, cybermissions.org. Go to the top right, click on the donate button where you can donate by PayPal, Venmo or Zelle securely, and we won't be passing anything on to third parties or keeping your credit card numbers. So you can just go to the website, cybermissions.org, click on the donate button, and if you'd like to donate monthly, you can do that way by PayPal, and we'd appreciate that. And you can bless us in multiple ways by donating online. If you'd like to donate by cheque, that is great as well. Please send your cheque to Cybermissions, PO Box 40, Rhodesville, Virginia 22542. That's Cybermissions, PO Box 40, Rhodesville, Virginia 22542, and make the check out to Cybermissions and not to me personally. Cybermissions is a 501c3 with the IRS, and we will give you a tax receipt at the end of the year, or even sooner if you want one. We thank you for watching this presentation, and God bless you if you're a current donor or if you're a new donor signing up. We look forward to knowing you and getting in contact with you. So God bless you, and remember Cybermissions.